Hey everybody! So today I want to talk to you about the energy of your home. This is something that's come up for me a lot in the past probably 2 or 3 years because I've been moving around a lot and traveling a lot, and each place that I have traveled to and each place that I've moved to, hey Stacy, has its own energy and its own vibration. And just a quick note about traveling, the reason that it's so important for us to travel and to experience new places and new people, hey Carrie, hey Rhonda, the reason traveling is so great and so important for us is that when we travel someplace new, we pick up on the energy of that place. So whenever you move, what you're doing is you're experiencing the exact same thing. Right? If you move to a new home, let's say you've lived in your home for 10 years, you move to a new home, you're in a brand new energy. You also don't know what other energies or spirits are at this property that you're moving to or at your property that you live at right now, right? So when you visit a new place, even though you're just going temporarily, what you're doing is you're picking up energy from that place. So you're definitely not there by accident, right? You pick up energy, you bring it back, you integrate it, you assimilate it into your energy, okay? And that's why traveling, going on retreats, going to new places and everything is so important, so critical. But that's not exactly what I want to talk to you about today. It's just an example I wanted to use of what our topic is going to be for today. So I want to start with just a very quick personal story. When I moved to San Diego County last year, I moved to the city of Oceanside, and I moved into this great, beautiful apartment, just amazing. But I'm a big believer in numerology. So if you don't know anything about that, look it up. It's basically that your home or even your life path, like there's a number that's associated with your life based on your birth date and the year you were born, etc. Kind of like astrology, but now with numbers, right? And so because I'm a big believer in both astrology and numerology, what I did was before I moved to Oceanside last year, I checked my numerology of my new home. So that's, if you guys are interested in a link, let me know and I'll put it in the comment at the end of this video. But I looked up how to calculate my new home's number before I even signed the lease to take this apartment. And the reason I did that is I wanted to know what I was going to be learning in this apartment, because we learn something every time we move somewhere. Wherever you live, you are learning something for your life right now. And once that lesson is over, you may stay in your current place, you may not, right? So what I did was I looked up the numerology, and as I started to research, see, my last home was a 14/5. And a 14/5 is a karmic lesson. Now, if you're not familiar with karmic lessons, they are big deals. And in this case, a 14/5, and you could even type this into Google if you want to see what my place was, but a 14/5 karmic lesson is when you are going through that particular lesson, what it means is that in my past lifetime, I used my free will in some way to harm other people. And in this lifetime, I'm repaying that karma in that karmic lesson. So moving into that apartment was the beginning of me balancing this karma from using my free will. In the way that this karmic lesson was described to me was I was selfish in a way that didn't take anybody else into account. So we always hear the term like self-care isn't selfish and all this stuff, right? But you can be selfish in a way that does get you karma to pay off, which is you take nobody else's feelings or anybody else into account, which is leaning in the narcissistic direction, okay? So I had a lot of karma to pay off from that in the past. And so a big lesson for me now, and it was the start of me moving into this apartment, a relationship got called to me when I lived in that apartment. Pretty soon after I moved in, I saw this lesson start to take effect right away, where the person that came into my life was just very, very, I'll call him inward, very all about himself, just only wanted to focus on himself, didn't really take me into consideration. So I was seeing the effects of my own karma start to come up and bubble up in this new relationship. And I was well aware of it because I chose this apartment. I felt drawn to it for a reason. And then I read about that karma, and I, of course, checked with my Akashic Records, and they said, this is the right apartment, and for that reason. So what you can do is look up the numerology of your apartment and see what your lessons are around it. But even more than that, it's really critical to show up for your soul lessons and for your soul contracts. You cannot avoid karma that you have to work through in this lifetime. So the only way to really understand what the lesson is by listening to what you feel drawn to. So that's what I did. When I found this apartment, I thought, oh, this is perfect. And then when I saw the karmic lesson, I could have avoided that. But I felt, you know what? I researched this for a reason. I've seen this for a reason. And I've checked my Akashic Records, and they've said, this is your next step to get where you're going. You're either going to do it in this apartment, or you're going to move on to something else. It's going to come at you either way, is basically what my Akashic Record said. So I said, I might as well be comfortable in this gorgeous apartment and go through the lesson here rather than putting myself in a more, possibly more difficult situation. So what I did essentially was just showed up for my soul lesson. Now, I want to talk to you about how this relates to business though, especially if you work from home. So I work from home. When I moved to Oceanside, this 14-5 karmic lesson that I moved into, I had a 2-bedroom, 2-bath apartment. Okay. So what I did was I had my own office. I had my own bedroom. Jax is with me. It's all good. I had a big, gorgeous apartment. Now, right when I moved into this apartment, my business started to tank in a really nasty way. And so had I known about that in advance, or even thought to ask how this relationship karmic lesson would affect my business, do you think I ever would have moved into this apartment? Never. Never, not in a million years. If I thought that was going to affect my business so drastically, would I have moved in? But what I came to realize was this karmic lesson that I was going through, because it had to do with relationships, it wasn't just intimate relationships, it was everybody that I was relating to. So this life lesson, soul lesson, karmic lesson, they're all the same thing really, whatever you want to call it, it didn't just affect my relationship that I was in, that got called to me when I moved into this place, but it affected colleagues, friends, family members, all the people that I was interrelating with in some way, including my clients. So when you have big karmic lessons like this, don't think it's affecting just one part of your life. It's affecting everything across the board. And because I worked from home, the whole energy of this lesson affected everything I did in my home, including my business, and also how I was relating to myself. So it wasn't just other people, it was also me. Now here's the important part. You'll know when a karmic lesson is over, because what will happen is you feel called to move. Boom. I need a change. Let's move on. Or even before that, and this is what I started doing, you'll start decluttering and you will start rearranging furniture in order to change the energy. We're talking feng shui now. In order to change the energy, you'll try all of these things leading up to it. And at some point, you'll get to a breaking point with it and you'll go, you know what? Let's just move. I'm not feeling this anymore. Whatever it is that comes up for you, you're just going to start to leave and make the plan to leave. Now, of course, I was on a lease. So here's what happened for me. I was on a lease till July. I ended up moving this last May. So I moved 2 months before my lease was up, and there were a lot of big penalties for me to move. But see, the universe works in really miraculous ways. So the universe knew long before I did, that I was going to work through this karmic lesson. So here's what they did. I did not have hot water in my apartment for 7 months. Have you ever gone 7 months without hot water? I was at my breaking point. By the time that 7th month rolled around, I feel like I had been tortured. I mean, first world problems, right? But it was terrible, a terrible feeling to take cold showers for 7 months straight, okay? And I was at my breaking point. Yeah, 7 months. Yeah. So let me tell you what I did. I finally got so frustrated because they weren't resolving the issue over and over and over that I went online and I wrote a review. Now, I'm not an unkind person, so I don't write unkind reviews, and I certainly don't write anything dishonest. Just not who I am, and it's not what I teach, and I live my truth in that sense, right? So, but I did go online and I wrote a really honest review, and I wrote dates, and I said, this is when I reported this, and this is when I reported this, and the issue's just not getting resolved. Take what you will from this. And I left it at that. Didn't criticize anybody in particular, nothing. 4 days later or so, the manager reaches out to me and says, we really want to resolve this issue for you, blah, blah, blah. And at the end, she goes, I saw your review. I'm really sorry you feel that way, etc. So sure enough, within a week, the water situation is fixed. But because I had so much trouble for 7 months, something miraculous happened. She offered to let me break my lease with no penalty. Do you know why that happened though? It was my time to move. Period. There's no way around it. I had intentions in place for my business to go to a certain next level. And when I hit that place where if I stayed at this apartment longer, I knew that my business was done. And the moment I moved, within maybe 2 weeks, my business has gone like this. All the way up, and continues to go up every single week. Every single week. And it's because your energy is impacted by the space that you're in all the time. You're not the only one living in your house. I'm sorry to tell you. There are spirits everywhere. They could be animals. They could be not of the earth realm, sorry to tell you. They could be your ancestors crossed over. They could be entities tied to the property. It doesn't matter how much clearing you do. They can attach to you. You can have a million different healers clear your property, but if the spirit doesn't want to go, the spirit won't go. So it's your job to somehow make peace with the energies on your property, first of all. And second of all, it's your job to understand when it's time to move on. We're not actually destined to live in the same place forever. We're just not, because you're growing as an individual, as a being, as a soul. And so you're going to need a different energy to support your next phase of growth. So clearing techniques and saging and shamans and all these things are only going to get you so far. At some point, it's going to be time to throw in the towel and go, okay, I think I'm ready for something different, right? And so I can't speak for everyone. I mean, you have to go with what resonates for you, but that's been my experience is when it's time for us to move on, it's just time to move on. It's time to go to where we feel called to go to next. And you can do all the prep work like I did. Like I was very well aware that this karmic lesson I was walking into was going to be a biggie. And I worked through as much as I could at that apartment. I'm going through different lessons right now that are going to be, you know, sort of, that was the breaking open of this karmic lesson, and I'm still learning. And I would actually say I'm at the heat of this lesson right now because you all know I talked to Archangel Michael. Archangel Michael this morning, I was asking about this because you always know when you're in the heat of your soul lesson because everything triggers you. Like you're at the point where you're like, I get that there's a higher purpose behind this, but holy smokes, this is triggering the hell out of me. So you're at a place of awareness where you know there's a reason that this is happening. I know this is for my highest benefit. I know all of that. But you know when you're at the heat of the soul lesson because even though you know all of that, you're still triggered by it. And so at that point, all you can do is go in for healing. And I go into the Akashic Records and do my healing on this, right? So for me, I'm at the heat of that right now. So I consulted the Akashic Records and actually Archangel Michael mostly this morning. And then I did the healing in the records. But when I consulted him about it, he said, and I wrote it down, I'll tell you exactly. He said, and by the way, our soul lessons and our soul missions are never quite what we think they are. People always ask me, well, what's my life purpose? How will I know what my life purpose is? And they think it's a job. That's never your life purpose. Your life purpose is never a job. Let me say that again. Your life purpose is never a job. And I'll tell you my life purpose for an example. Your life lesson has to actually do with your soul, your biggest soul lesson in this lifetime. So here's mine, because I know exactly what my life purpose is. Accept people for who they are and give without expectation. That's my life purpose. Accept people for who they are and give without expectation. And guess what my biggest issue is? I deal with people that try to use me constantly. I'm not talking about clients or anything like that. That's not what I'm talking about. People in my personal life. I attract people to me who try to suck me dry. They take, and expect me to keep giving constantly while they give me nothing in return. But my life purpose to learn is accept people for who they are and give without expectation. So that's why that's so triggering, right? So anyway, that's just an example, okay, of mine. So your life purpose is never actually a job, ever. Your life purpose is the biggest lesson that you're learning, okay? It's kind of different than when people teach out there, but I've seen it time and time again in the Akashic Records, all right? Anyway, guys, do you have any questions while I'm here? I hope you found this helpful. Pay attention to your home now that I talked about this, or if you joined me late, watch the replay because it's pretty incredible. It's pretty incredible how the energy of our home can really affect your business, especially if you work from home. But it can also affect your money, your relationships, you name it. Okay? Yeah, Kate said that makes so much sense. Amy said, I feel the same way. People take and take and take and I get nothing in return. I get it. Yeah. But that's my lesson, right? So it's not a matter, in my case, it's not a matter of me stopping and saying, why am I attracting this? Like, people think it's general law of attraction stuff, and it's not. It's actually a way higher understanding of not why am I attracting this, which is just basic law of attraction stuff. The question actually is, what am I to learn from this? It has nothing to do with what am I attracting, because I know I'm attracting what I need to learn. So what is it that I need to learn? And when I asked that question this morning, Michael dropped that bomb on me, okay? I've been thinking about how my apartment is affecting my money story, Amy shared. Awesome. Yeah. Yeah. So I hope this video helped you in that sense, because I found when I moved into my apartment, my business just kept tanking. And I think it had something to do with my actual lesson behind it was learning how to trust how I feel in relationships as well, and in my relationship with my business. So even though that went that road with my business, I don't think I could have avoided that no matter what I did. But the good news behind that was I also was able to stop and say, hold on, what am I learning from this? Is there anything I can do to shift it? Obviously, it was aligned for me to move, and then things started going better. But while I was at that apartment, as my business was going down, it gave me an opportunity to really go within, and that's when my intuition got way stronger, and I learned to trust myself, and I started listening to my heart. So this soul lesson, this karmic lesson for me was very wide-reaching. I'm still in the heat of it right now as far as really trying to step into this place of just accepting people for who they are and just not expecting anything in return and just giving from the heart, because I think we're always being taught boundaries, you know, and this kind of hits up against my boundaries, this idea of just give and give and give and nobody gives anything in return. But this is my lesson right now. I have to just take one step at a time and release what needs to be released, and I think that's all we can do. So I was able to get to this point with my knowledge, though, because of the Akashic Records, guys. So if you haven't heard about it yet, I know some of you on this call haven't, I would definitely go check out my course. I'm going to pin it in the comment below. I sold this course for $2,000 before, and I just opened it up because I want to help as many people heal as possible. So I just opened it up for $247. So everybody before you has paid $2,000 or a little less for this course, and I just opened it up to my community and everybody for $247 because I want to help you heal. And the reason I heal so quickly and so directly is because I work with the Akashic Records on this, and they give me the answers I'm looking for, and they help me connect with the root cause of what's holding me back. So if you're ready to show up and learn how to work with the Akashic Records, I'm teaching you in my course, and it's just $247, and it's a 9-week long course. It's massive, but I'm with you every step of the way. Okay? So I hope you'll join us. I'm going to put the link in the comments, and I would love to see you there. Sending you all my love. Thank you for being here live with me, and I will talk to you soon.